What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of my Gran Turismo Zero to Hero Racing series. Today we are on the Maggiore circuit. It's the circuit that has like the really fun swoop at the halfway through, like the hairpin with the big loop-de-loop thingy mabob. Yeah, but today we're gonna be driving the GR3 AMG. Yeah, so from what I understand, this is a very good beginner's car. So I was like, you know what? Let's take this out. Won't be too hard to drive. It'll be a lot of fun. Also, I want to, as we watch me drive the warm-up lap or the my qualifying lap here, just watch that as I speak. I was watching a basic ollie video, and this is to address the whole ABS problem I was having. And as I was watching this video, he had this ABS glitch that apparently was a big problem. That's a big problem in the game still, that I thought was fixed, but apparently it's still there. And what I learned is that basically these cars in this game are almost useless or impossible to drive very, very quickly or competitively without ABS. So, from what I remember a couple months ago, I entered a lobby. I was on the Nürburgring or something like that. It was just an open lobby just to do free lapping. And one of the restrictions was you could not have ABS or traction control. I remember that specifically, but I didn't remember taking it off. So I think what it was is I forgot it, and that's why I've been locking my brakes every single time I'm playing this game for like the entire time I've been playing it. That's why when I was driving the slower cars in the earlier videos with like the 240 and stuff, it was easier because it was a lighter car and not as much problems. But yeah, that pretty much clears up that whole situation. Anyways, we're starting here in 11th place with a rolling start here on Maggiore on the main straight here. And yeah, so we're starting in 11th place, and keep an eye on the number 12 car, the Brazilian, because something might happen right here. So yeah, I brake here at the 2 cone, and I'm just pulling in here, trying not to get murdered by anybody, and then out of nowhere, kabam, there comes the Brazilian guy, and tries to take me out, but kind of takes himself out. The guy in 9th place goes out there, but 2 more guys pass us as we go around the hairpin there. But the American in the Peugeot ends up getting a penalty somehow. I'm assuming he probably tapped the guy behind us, but that's not big of a deal. I'm sure he'll spin out or something soon in the future, or he probably gets slowed down right at the slow down mark here because it was early enough in the race, so he got slowed down and I passed him, and we don't have to worry about him anymore, hopefully. Anyways, as we move on, this corner here is a lot of fun. If you hit it properly, you can be trail braking right into the corner, and it's fun. Also, the Brazilian or the American in the BMW was kind of too far out, and we were able to pass him very easily. Next up here, we have the Brazilian who hit us in the Porsche, but I believe we're able to pass him here because pretty much from this point on, you're able to go flat out, and as long as you hit this corner properly, as long as you center out the sausage there, you can get full speed and you won't get slowed down too much. The American there had a penalty, I'm assuming, or he spun out because he's ghosted out. The Brazilian there clearly didn't take the line right, and I was able to pass him right by, and then another American spun out or something like that. The Brazilian does end up passing us right back again, and we may have not taken that corner fast enough because the Brazilian caught us, and then this Alpha came out of nowhere, who also has a penalty and kind of nudged us in the side. So I don't know where he came from. I don't remember him even in the race, but he's there. He keeps love tapping us for some reason. I know, thanks guys. I know Robin's racing, but that's a little bit too much. The Alpha clearly doesn't know what he's doing, and he spins out over there, so we're fine. This corner here, I tried turning in as late as I could to hit the apex late, so I can take this corner here into the last corner as best as I could, so I can go full throttle as much, but I guess it didn't really work out for me. This corner, last corner here, we turn in. The guy in the Porsche, the Brazilian, spins out because he put, I think, his rear tires into the grass a bit and dirted them up and just took himself out. Here comes the Alpha, passes us on the side. I don't know how. He must have had an incredible, or maybe he just got the maybe he just got a good exit out of the corner or whatever. And as you can see, I got a little bit too happy about how I was doing, and I spun out as well. And here quickly, we're just going to speed up everything a little quickly because nothing really happens. A couple guys get penalties, a couple guys spin out, and nothing really exciting, really just me trying to keep up and get along in the race. I tried recording this thing like 3 or 4 times because my basement's kind of loud. People are doing laundry, people are moving chairs upstairs, and I kind of redo a couple times. But if it screws up this time again, I don't really care. I'm not redoing this like the 3rd or 4th time I've been doing it. Anyways, as we're finally slowing down from the speed up, we finally start catching up to the guy in 10th place. I believe it's Ecuadorian? Could be wrong. Can't really see it from this thing here. But yeah, this is our last lap. Kind of sped everything up. Nothing really happened for about 3 laps. Again, this corner here is a lot of fun. you can brake pretty much late. As long as your ABS is on, like I finally do, you can kind of trail brake the entire corner and you'll be pretty solid. Going to about third gear, I know I went to second gear, that wasn't probably the smartest, but you go back down into like the third, and it's pretty easy. This corner is probably one of the hardest ones I had because I kept braking way too early because I was understeering a lot for some reason this car, and I just couldn't keep up with a lot of the cars. Kind of funny, I couldn't really keep up with a front wheel drive Beetle in that corner, but whatever. Those cars are pretty quick in a straight line though. That's the one thing I noticed about them. I guess they do have a lot of power, or just because they're so light possibly. Maybe I have to try that car out next time. I don't know if I actually have it. I don't have all the cars in the game yet, but we'll see. Anyways, into the hairpin, the funnest part or the coolest part of the track, coming in. We're right behind this Beetle, and I think we're going to try and make a move on him soon. But slowly we're falling flat out through these corners for the most part, and as you hit the cone, that's when I started to turn in. I think that was a good turn-in point. You come in, you're still going flat out, straight, and right after I started braking a little later in this corner, but pretty much just after those double cones, I broke and went back into third. Again, this corner, I tried to turn a little later, but this time I didn't. This time I tried turning a little earlier because maybe I thought I was faster. I saw other guys who were going faster than me take that line. I thought it would work out. Here, you're going to see the lunge of a century. Absolutely crazy. I don't touch the guy or anything, and I get 9th place like that. That was the cool. I didn't hit him. I thought it was kind of clean. We can check in, like, I can always check in replay, but I felt like that was perfectly clean. I don't think the guy was mad at me, but that was like the lunge of a century, and that was the funniest thing ever. I couldn't believe it when I did it. Anyways, we moved 2 positions from that, so we finished in 9th. Anyways, second race, we started in 8th, so a little bit better. I guess less people qualified as better as I did, but yeah. So we start off this race right here, coming down the straight behind the guy in 7th. Starting a little bit further up in the track, a little less on the bank coming in. And I brake a little bit early because I didn't know how much these guys were going to brake, and as you can see, that leads me into oversteering like a champ and right into the wall once again. This corner was my enemy this race. I just could not deal with it, and I end up in third. And like I said, a little bit excited, trying to catch up with everybody, and I spin out once again. Now, we're catching up with the pack again. This guy in 12th spun out. I don't want to say it like an idiot because this race I spun out twice. Not really worrying about it. As you can see, another guy spins out this race. So I guess the lobbies that we're in, just, yeah. Not the greatest drivers, including myself. Don't forget about that. I am not that great. In this corner here, I messed up a lot because I wasn't going in enough, I feel like. But anyways, we're behind this guy in the Viper, the American in the Viper. And we're trying to get right beside him. I tried to lunge in a little bit. I could have probably braked a little bit later, and I probably could have passed him, but I was a little nervous. I didn't want to hit him, and I didn't want to do another lunge of the century like I did at the end of the last race. But as we move on, we do pass the guy in the Beetle. He took the corner very poorly, and we were able to pass him. Again, this corner I wasn't taking that great, so I wasn't able to keep up speed with the Viper here. But as we go on to this part, after that corner, I'm able to go as fast as everyone else. I'm very competitive in this part because I'm able to take the corner properly. Unfortunately, the guy in the Viper knows the line pretty well as well. Well, I guess. And he takes it perfectly, and we're able to keep up with him. But I have the toe on him, and I tried to look for a move, but again, I didn't want to hit him, and I broke again way too early, thinking that the toe did a lot more than it did. And yeah, I kind of lost a lot. I was right beside him, and I kind of lose him for a little bit. But we're gonna move onto this other part here. Yeah, that's great. It's great commentating with that. Anyways, we follow him closely and closely into the last few corners here. Brake right after the double pylon and try to follow the line as much as we can, following this guy right behind him, trying not to spin out again, hopefully not, because if we spin out, that's pretty much the end of our race here. It's on the third, oh no, we're on the second lap. Oh, I'm a little ahead of myself. Anyways, on to the second lap, hopefully trying to get behind this Viper, seeing maybe if he'll make a mistake and spin out as well. Like I said in the last episode, a lot of the things in this game, you just pretty much have to be consistent. Like, if you're able to stay consistent and not die or like spin yourself out as much, you can pretty much move up a lot of positions. A lot of people do play dirty and end up hitting you, but yeah, like you can see, the Viper does end up spinning out and gets a little excited and loses himself. This is on the last lap, and pretty much nothing else happens there. I was by myself for the rest of the race, and yeah, that was pretty fun. I think a couple of people actually spun out, but yeah, nothing really interesting happened for us of that race. For the third and final race, this one's kind of long because it was kind of interesting the entire time. Now, we start off again in 12th, so a little bit lower than the other 2 races we had. But, again, this race is a little bit more interesting than the other ones. coming down the main, trying to make a move, and I do something really dumb, and I didn't move over enough, and I kill the guy, and I get a 1 second penalty. Again, just like the last race when I got a penalty, that one was very much deserved. I don't know why the Corvette ended up getting a penalty. I didn't really think he did anything wrong here, but again, that was very much deserved for me to get that penalty. I should have moved over a lot more, but I didn't for some reason, and I hit him. Very much, I should not have done that. Should have been paying more attention, but it's okay. We'll move on. The guy in the Peugeot, we do end up passing, but we have to serve my 1 second penalty because I was able to get the penalty earlier on, as early as I could in the race, so that when we hit the penalty zone, I was able to serve it. Now, we're in 12th place, back where we started, and hopefully, since all these guys are right beside us, we can move up the pack somewhat. The guys aren't too far, and we're back onto the part that I'm most efficient on the track, which is I guess the midpoint of the track. I'm not really sure. Again, you can see that the guy ahead of us doesn't really know how to take that corner and tries riding the sausage a little bit, which kind of disturbs the car. If you hit it improperly, it can kind of throw you off and possibly even kill you if you don't take it properly. Now we're down with the toll coming down, and I tried braking as late as I can, but I should have broke a little bit later. I probably could have got a little closer to Vito, but it's better to be safe than sorry on this track, especially since I already got 1 penalty in the race. I didn't want to get another one because that would have really set my, fate in stone with how I set it up. But, following the corners here, staying as flat as you can, trying to push it out as hard as you can, trying not to lift as hard as you can. Hopefully the downforce will hold you in, and just trying to stay as close to you guys as I can to the guys here. Now the Beetle does end up going off track, and it does help us a little bit because that does slow him down somewhat, and it dirties his tires. Also, the Corvette, I believe from earlier, gets a penalty, or has the penalty from earlier, and does spin out. And that right there is the first lap of the race. A little bit interesting, a little bit not, and that's how it went. Everyone keeps messaging me. Wow. Damn. Yeah, a lot of guys are messaging me about dumb things. Anyways, moving on, the race. Hopefully nobody is gonna kill us here. Oh, no, yeah, here comes the guy behind us, the Brazilian. Hopefully, this is kind of a theme of this episode. A lot of the Brazilians coming from behind us and trying to take us out. I don't know why. I don't do anything to them, but whatever. Anyways, moving on. Guys are behind us, guys are in front of us. Just a whole kerfuffle of people around us trying to pass, and us trying to pass, and just a disaster. But like I said, if we can see the guys ahead of us, in a position that we are in 11th, we shouldn't really worry too much, especially so early on in the race. We're barely at the halfway point. We shouldn't really worry about the guys behind us. We should just worry about more of the guys in front of us and try to pass them. Because if the guys behind us pass us, it's not that big of a deal. We just try to drive our race and let them pass as many people as they can so that maybe we can move on. And here, in the most efficient part, I believe that I was driving that, I kind of spin a little bit. And the Brazilian behind us in the Subaru ends up passing us. Although he does have a penalty, and he did not take that line perfectly either. He did not go through the sausage like you're supposed to, so it kind of slows him down. He also hits the wall there and kind of goes crazy. We end up passing the Corvette once again and the Subaru, so it's kind of good. But I believe in this corner I do not brake well enough, and he takes the inside right away. I should have been a little bit more defensive with that. I tried taking the actual racing line instead of trying to be a little bit more defensive. It kind of gives me a plan of how to do stuff in the future when someone's behind you. Don't take the racing line right away. Just try to play a little bit defensive, not too defensive, so that where you give someone about 2 car lengths in between you to just jump in and take the spot. But the guy in the Subaru does have a penalty, so that is good for us in the future, and hopefully he can make a mistake and add on to that penalty, or maybe just spin out and we're good. Hopefully everyone in front of us spins out so we can finish in first, but you know what, that's not how I want it. I want to win my first race proper and all that stuff. I kind of took this corner a little wide. I look behind me, and the guy behind me, I believe in the Corvette, also goes pretty wide and hits the grass, so he kind of spins out, and he's kind of out of the picture for us now. That is the end of the second lap, beginning of the third. We're still behind the Subaru, just trying to pass him, paying attention that he does have a penalty, but it'd be happier if I was closer to him when he has the penalty so that I wouldn't have to worry about hitting him after he unghosts out. Because that's a big problem I have as well. I don't judge it properly when they ghost out, because I get a little bit close and then all of a sudden they ghost back in, or unghost, however you want to say it, and I end up hitting them because they become real or solid, or however you want to say it, and I end up nailing them. But in this situation, I was not close enough even a little bit to pass him, so we don't have to worry about that. We take this corner terribly, paying attention too much to them and not to our own line that we are trying to produce. And yeah, we just don't take it properly and take it pretty slowly. Still focusing on the Brazilian and the, I think it's an Argentinian in front of him. Yeah, Argentinian right in front of him. We're trying to catch up to these guys. The best position so far we can get is probably 8th, because the guy is about, I'd say, 2 seconds ahead of us, I think is fair to say. Can't really see him right now. It's the guy ahead of the Argentinian, I believe it's in, oh, I can't tell because we're so far back. We can only see the 2 guys immediately in front of us. But anyways, we're right behind the Subaru. Again, I tried to pull a move, and I did the same thing as before with the Corvette, and I broke way too early, and it kind of screws me over once again, but they are still right in front of us. They are right there. I don't have to worry about them, but there is a guy right behind me, slowly getting right beside me, and I kind of have to worry about him now, because it is a little bit later in the race, and it's not the beginning of the race, like I said, where you don't have to worry about guys as much, but it's starting to get the end of the race that I do have to start worrying about those guys. But yeah, anyways, if you do notice, my braking is getting like 10 times better for the fact that I'm not locking up nearly as much. And yeah, as I say that, yeah, I spun right around and messed everything up in the race, and that pretty much sets my race in stone. I try my best to catch up back later, but I couldn't really do much, and I do end up finishing this race in 11th. I do end up picking up a little bit of a penalty after. I think I cut the track a little bit, but it was only a half-second penalty, so it didn't really matter. The guy was like quite far behind me anyways. But yeah, so I do believe I ended up fixing that whole ABS issue, and it kind of worked out for me because I was able to start braking better and better as the race went on, so it kind of made me really happy. Yeah, so slowly I'm improving, and I think with this whole ABS situation behind us, we can really start dealing with the whole braking system and everything else, just getting gradually better at this game as it goes on. But anyways, that's the end of this video. Like, thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for subscribing, and I'll see you guys next time.